Hey guys, it's John from Album Review TV. Today I'm doing something a little bit different than usual, and it's called Review Orgy Time. And why am I calling it that, and what is Review Orgy Time? Well, I think it's something that I'm going to do from time to time, maybe not even any more than every 6 months or so, but it's going to be where I review a bunch of albums in one video, because maybe I just don't have a ton to say on the album. Maybe the album came out a while ago and I'm just now getting around to it and I wanted to include it in a review. Also, I'll be reviewing some of the viewer requested reviews. So I've got a little list here of things that I wanted to touch on and things you guys have messaged me about. Let's get started with Mayday Parade's self-titled album. It came out October 4th of 2011. Never got around to doing a review for it last year, but I recently listened to the album a few more times, and overall I really do enjoy this album. I'll just go ahead and throw out my ratings pretty quickly on these and talk briefly about each album. I'm giving Mayday Parade's self-titled a 4 out of 5. There's a lot of songs that I enjoy on this record. A lot of people have been disappointed in their last album. There was a lot of outside co-writers, that sort of thing. I didn't hate that album, but I honestly didn't really listen to it very much, but this and A Lesson in Romantics are probably my favorite Mayday Parade albums. There's a lot of songs that I really do enjoy on this album. Priceless, You're Dead Wrong. My overall favorites have to be When You See My Friends, Oh Well, Oh Well, and I think Without the Bitter, The Sweet Isn't As Sweet. That's probably my overall favorite, the one I just mentioned. Matt and Kim's Lightning just recently came out. Not feeling this album really much at all. Matt and Kim aren't really doing anything to mix up the old formula. They are kind of stuck in a rut, in my opinion. They need to do something new. Yes, they've got some great songs, and I liked the first single titled Let's Go a lot. The music video just came out for that, and that was actually pretty funny. No, I don't like this album, honestly. Granted, I'm more of a singles fan with Matt and Kim. I've never really enjoyed their albums too much, but this one is my least favorite out of anything they've released so far. 2 out of 5 for me. Next up is Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape. 1997 album. Long time ago this one came out, and it really started defining the Foo Fighters sound with this record. Monkey Wrench, Everlong, 2 of their biggest hits ever, were included on this record. There's a lot of new sounds that were tried. A lot of big steps were made for the Foo Fighters at this time. They went through a lot of growing pains in this era. It didn't really show in the music, I don't feel like, but there was a lot more, there was a lot more to their sound. They were doing more. It wasn't quite as garagey as it had been with their previous release. And I think this is really the record that launched Foo Fighters into popularity. Everlong really took off. So did Monkey Wrench. I love the music videos for those, but not just the singles. There's great songs like My Poor Brain, Wind Up. Overall, it's an enjoyable record for me. It's not my favorite Foo Fighters record, but this one was requested by a viewer a while back. Overall, for this album, 3.5 out of 5. Up next is Sum 41's All Killer No Filler, 2001 album. I can't believe it. It's 11 years old now. I remember listening to this as early as 2005 when I really started getting into music. This is one of the first albums I ever got. One of my friends burned it for me on a CD, and I just remember loving the whole thing. There's really not any tracks on here that I dislike by any means, and this is really the record that launched Sum 41 into popularity. It's considered to be one of the best pop-punk records of all time. I love it. Motivation, In Too Deep, Fat Lip, Handle This, Nothing on My Back, and of course like Crazy Amanda Bunkface. There's so many good songs on this record. It's an obvious 5 out of 5 for me. Definitely a classic record. Some of you younger viewers, if you've never heard of this, definitely go back and check this record out. I know it came out a long time ago, but it holds its value to this day. Next on the chopping block is Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of their most well-known albums for sure. This is another viewer-requested album, and I have to say that it's probably one of my favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers albums. It contains probably my overall favorite song by the band, which is Other Side. There's just so much, I don't know, the lyrics in it and just the angst and just the passion behind the whole album is just great, and especially that song. Scar Tissue is on that album as well as Around the World, Parallel Universe, Road Trippin', and obviously the title track, Californication, which is another one of their best songs in their whole career, in my opinion. This album is a 4 out of 5 for me. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I really started getting into them after I heard Danny California first, because that was the time when I was really starting to get into music. But honestly, some of the next songs I heard by them were Scar Tissue and Other Side, and that really helped me to start developing a love for the band. All Time Low, Nothing Personal is the next one I personally wanted to touch on. Love that album. Recently I've been debating mentally between which is my favorite All Time Low album, Don't Panic, the recently released new album, or Nothing Personal. And I honestly think it's still Nothing Personal, just by this much, just because I just love every song on it so much. Not to say that I don't love every song on Don't Panic, because I do, but Nothing Personal just has so many great ones. Even the slow songs like Therapy, and of course party song Walk of Shame, definitely one of my favorites. Even the singles Weightless, Damned If I Do Ya, Damned If I Don't, Stella, Walls is probably my all-time favorite All Time Low song. And the whole album, start to finish, nothing wrong with it at all. Great pop punk vibe to it. So definitely a 5 out of 5. The last album I'm going to be talking about today is The Silence in Black and White by Hawthorne Heights. Another request. I haven't listened to this album in a while, but I recently revisited it briefly, and just some memories started coming back. The themes that are dealt with on the album are just, it's definitely an emo rock album. There's a lot of topics with death and stuff, and just problems that you're dealing with in life are touched on in this album. I think it's really a great record for when you're in your teenage years coming up. There's a lot of things that can be helpful, and if you're not careful, it could bring you down, but I never really found myself in that place. But I wouldn't suggest listening to the album if you were in a dark place. But obviously it's got the amazing singles Ohio is for Lovers and Nikki FM on it, as well as songs like Dissolve and Decay, Life on Standby. I'm not really I've never been a huge fan of the record as a whole. 3.5 out of 5 for me, but those two singles that I definitely mentioned are some of my favorite songs from my teenage years, and I honestly still love them and listen to those two songs at least quite frequently. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this review orgy. Leave comments down below on what you thought about any of the albums, or if you think I should do this more often, or if there's albums that you want me to review that I didn't get included. But thanks to everyone who did send over the request for things for me to review. I can't get to everything. Please remember to subscribe. Thanks everyone for watching right here on Album Review TV.